Right now, you're on one of two paths. Path one is the traditional realtor. You hear all this talk about AI, you ask some questions from ChatGPT about your everyday life, you have it write some social media posts for you, but you're not really seeing it help you grow your business in any meaningful way. Now, path two is the AI-powered realtor. This is where you begin to actually use AI to get more leads, book more appointments, close more deals, and have your whole business, have your clients being served better because you're leveraging it to the fullest extent, all while you're working less hours than you did before. Now, if you are on the path number one right now, where you're not leveraging AI to the fullest extent, this course is going to get you to the path of the number two and save you years and thousands of dollars worth of mistakes and labor capital as well. So this course is going to help you finally know exactly how to use AI in real estate business to its fullest potential as a realtor, and it's built from real execution and real work with 8 years experience working with hundreds of realtors. Here's what we're going to go over in this video. So first things first, we'll talk about understanding how to use AI and what you should actually be using it for. Then we'll go over the specific use cases as well, so you can start using this immediately. So first one being your tier one visuals. These are things like your AI video tours. You'll be able to transform just static pictures into full-blown video property tours that you can now leverage on your social media marketing or in your listing appointments. Also, you'll be able to leverage AI virtual staging. So let's say you have an empty property, empty room that has no furniture in it, or just has furniture that's not really that great. You'll be able to use AI to transform that into a fully designed version generated instantly. And this is all 100% for free without you needing to pay hundreds of dollars for a company. Now, also things like your YouTube thumbnails, this is all part of tier one. Then from tier two, we're going to go over your strategic and admin operations. These are different things like superhuman thinking, so having strategic advisorship generated for free. Also things like your tech assistant. So if you're going through anything like that's kind of technical, you're not really sure how to go over and how to actually fix it, you can have AI take control of your computer and fix that issue for you while you're just chilling, you're just looking at it doing its job. Now, also, you're going to have things like AI appointment preparations, AI call analysis, and different things like tier three, where we're going to go over real estate intelligence and marketing. So AI-powered CMA reports, listing marketing optimizer, email broadcast generated, and then also high converting video content for different things like Instagram Reels, YouTube scripts, and property tour voice overlay scripts. So tons of use cases. These are all different services that are even just one of these, such as your tech assistant. People are paying thousands of dollars every month for. This is something you can nowadays do 100% for free, leveraging AI. So that's exactly what we're going to go over in today's video. Massive value. So let's go ahead and get started. And by the way, if you want to have the full SOP with all the tools, all the instructions, everything we go over today with all the links as well, just comment AI under this video and my team will send it to you for free. So make sure you comment AI if you want to get that document. And other than that, let's go ahead and get started. Now, before we dive into the different tactics and the specifics, there's some common concepts about AI that you need to understand first. And so when it comes down to AI, and the way I like to think about this and the way I like to start off is through definitions. So there's different AI use cases and different AI tools, and sometimes people get confused about different kinds of tools. So whenever you hear somebody using AI, most of the times they're talking about LLM chatbots. So what an LLM chatbot stands for, it's large language model chatbot. And this is something you're probably familiar with. This is the same as ChatGPT. If you go over here and you could type in some messages, basically that's large language model that you're using. Now, there's also different things like AI in AI single purpose tools. So these are different services out there. I'm sure you're familiar with using some of these, or you're already using these types of things. So these are essentially different services, whereas, as an example, this one, amplifies.ai, where you can plug in some pictures and it's going to generate you videos. The only problem with these types of different tools is that obviously they cost money. So this one is $1.5 per image. So if you upload 10 images, well, now that's $15. So they're pretty expensive. Whereas today I'm going to show you how to use AI for free. So you can do this yourself without needing to spend tons and tons of money, or at least spend a lot less money than you would with just putting together a bunch of different single case tools. Now, there's also different tools like invisible AI. So you may be already using AI, you're just not very aware that you're necessarily using AI. This is a good example of this is if you're driving a car, you're driving a Tesla, and it corrects you or it drives for you, well, that's using invisible AI. Now, this also applies if you're running any kinds of advertisements off social media. I'm sure you've sometimes boosted a post or run any kind of paid advertisements. Well, all of these tools are actually AI on meta platforms, so Facebook and Instagram. This is one of the most sophisticated AIs in the world when it comes down to advertising. This is just invisible. It's not something you can necessarily interact with as far as that goes that much compared to a lot of these other tools. Now, the thing we're going to talk about the most today is going to be agentic AI. So, this is one of the most sophisticated ways of using AI. And what that simply means is now instead of you just using a single purpose tool or you just asking some questions, you will essentially be able to give hands to the brain and get AI to do a lot of the work for you. And that's agentic AI. That's what we're going to go over in today's video, how to actually take advantage of that and get your AI usage and skills to that next level. So currently AI is in kind of like an overhang state. And what I mean by that is that current AI capabilities are far beyond what most people think, believe, or know how to use. And to give you a good example is that the people perception most people have about AI is that it's kind of like a chat bot. You can ask some questions, right? Maybe you get like a funny image or something like that. And that's kind of like the perception an average realtor, average person would have about ChatGPT or any of these tools. Whereas the reality is completely different. You can use AI to do incredible things, do a lot of the work for you, or virtually all of the work for you. And it can be an incredibly intelligent tool you can use as your partner for a virtually free cost. So, for most people out there and most realtors out there, they're essentially knowing how to use ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, and it's kind of like these copy paste sorts of tools. And this is extremely insufficient. This is basically virtually not using AI at all. And so as this awareness catches up, you'll see exactly what I mean after watching this video. This window will close at some point. At some point, like 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road, 5 years down the road, people will also know how to use these tools. But right now, this is wide open. So after you watch this video, you'll be years and years ahead of what most people are aware of when it comes down to leveraging AI and using AI in the first place. And to give you a good example of this is I'll put this down into two categories. So there's a chat interface AI, and then we have those agentic workflows. And so with chat interface, you can ask those one-off questions, right? Maybe you can get some answers on that. And with agentic workflows, you're going to have a multi-step, goal-oriented processes built directly to your business. So you can easiest way you're going to think about this is, let's say you're looking to build a marketing campaign. Well, with chat interface, you can ask a question like, hey, ChatGPT, what would be a good marketing campaign? And it's going to give you maybe 5-step process. Whereas with agentic workflows, it can build that whole marketing campaign for you, execute that on a daily basis, and learn from the data you're getting. So it's incredibly big difference in terms of that, in terms of the use case. And your role with chat interface, it's really just manual prompting, right? Maybe ask a different question, maybe ask this question, maybe you can do a different prompt, but that's about what you can really do with chat interface. Whereas with agentic workflows, you're a little bit like a big boss. So what I mean by that is like you just explain what you want to happen, and it's just gonna happen. The AI will do that work actually for you. And so those capabilities are vastly different. So with chat interface, you can basically just generate some text. And whereas with agentic workflows, you can do things on your computer, create real things happening in the real world. So the result here is with chat interface, maybe you can get some tips, maybe you can get some insights. Oftentimes those insights are kind of generic. They're not really that useful. Maybe it saves you a few minutes. Whereas with agentic workflows, that just basically replaces real human work. You can have virtually an employee work for you for free, and you can have dozens and dozens of those employees. So obviously the difference here is like night and day. So it's a little bit like if you knew how to drive a bike versus if you had a full car, a supercar like Ferrari, and you had 10 of those Ferraris and a personal driver driving every one of those cars. So the difference is huge as far as this goes. And so the goal of using AI is that this is kind of like an acceleration pedal. So what I mean by that is we can't really ask AI to invent the strategy from scratch, and we got to feed it your framework and then let it execute the heavy lifting. And so that's where people get a lot of this wrong, right? They think that AI is something that's going to give them a strategy or give them something like fully to execute. Whereas what we need to use the AI for is get it to do that heavy lifting, get it to do that work. And so easiest way to kind of explain this is if you imagine a big pipe, and so in the pipe there's water flowing from one end, and then the outputs, the water flowing from the other end. Well, in every pipe, right, you're gonna have a bottleneck in the pipe. And so in any part of the pipe, like you're seeing here on the screen, if there is a bottleneck, like you're seeing right over here, it's gonna limit the growth of the output. It just cannot go any further than whatever that bottleneck really is. And so the easiest example to give you about this is, let's say right now as a realtor, you're doing a lot of cold calling. You're cold calling FISBOs or you're cold calling expireds. So you gotta have some inputs going in over here. And for whatever reason, you're not closing the deal amount that you want. Maybe you're closing on 10 deals a year, 15 deals a year, 20 deals a year, whatever that number be. But you really want to close on 40 or maybe 50 deals a year. And so what we can use AI now to do for us is that instead of you kind of thinking about, okay, what should I say on my calls, or trying to reinvent some things about your calls, right? Or try to reinvent the whole strategy, you can use AI to feedback all the data, how many calls you're actually doing, what kind of things you're actually saying on the calls, what are the main objections, all of the data from your CRM, get it to analyze all of that for you. And then from there, you can go ahead and create a game plan, get the AI to create the game plan for you to actually hit that 40 to 50 deals. Same would also apply to running any kinds of advertisements. So if you're running paid advertisements using Facebook, or you're spending money on Zillow leads or any kind of other lead generation tools, you can use AI to find that bottleneck for you, get it to analyze that for you, and then create a plan for you to actually fix that and get it to do the work, at least large majority of the work, to get that fixed. So there's really two paths to return on investment. Either AI can essentially reduce a lot of that time spent. So you can get AI to send you your text messages, send you your follow-up emails, maybe do some of the marketing work for you, manage your ads for you, a lot of those types of things for you. Or the other thing you can use to generate the risk return is going to be improving your quality of your results, the quality of your outputs. So right now, if you're also creating, let's say, social media content, well, you can use AI now to come up with the ideas, different types of things you would be doing, research the marketplace, and then write those scripts for you whenever you go ahead and create another content piece. So those are the two main paths to return on investment by leveraging these tools. Either you can reduce the time spent, so get it to do all the analysis, all the work for you, or alternatively, you can just improve the quality of whatever you're already doing when it comes down to growing your real estate business. So how do you actually figure out what you should actually be using AI for? Well, the first step to that is to map your time to find your AI targets. So you don't want to be looking out there for things AI could do. This is one of the most common mistakes realtors out there do, right? Is that they just kind of go through email inbox, see whatever ads are popping up there, or try to go on YouTube and just try to see as many like AI ideas or softwares or tools as possible. So instead, what you want to be doing is look at what you're actually doing already in your business, and then map that out. So first things first, if you look at time saving, you want to track your tasks for 3 days to identify where your time actually bleeds. And most people are not really aware of this. So I hear a lot of realtors say like, I don't have the time, right? Or I'm very busy. And so what you want to be doing is that instead of just saying something like that, just actually track the time, see where your actual hours are going to, and then from there, we'll be able to now identify where your time actually bleeds and then automate or delegate some of those tasks. Now, number two is efficiency increasing. So you want to be listing down current main constraints in your client generation and service delivery. And what I mean by that is you want to list out what exactly you're doing for your marketing, whether that be content creation, whether that be buying leads, whether that be prospecting, whether that be your sphere of influence. List all of those out and then list out those constraints when it comes down to those clients and that service delivery that you have. From there, we're going to go ahead and filter for the target. So we're going to go ahead and highlight the tasks that are heavy in terms of text, that are heavy in terms of repetition. So something you have to do day in and day out. or any tasks that also involve analysis or thinking work. Things like social media content where you have to do research analysis or any types of things like idea creation wise. Or alternatively, obviously, if there's any analysis needed to be done on the sales sides, if you're doing lead generation or if you're doing prospecting, obviously you can also use it for that as well. So that's the lens you want to be looking at leveraging AI from. Essentially, you're doing something faster or you're doing something better. Let's say you're doing YouTube videos right now and you're creating YouTube thumbnails for every one of your videos and it's taking up a lot of your time, or you're spending a lot of money on paying somebody to create your YouTube thumbnails. Well, now you can use AI to do it better, so generate better results from your YouTube videos, or also use it to actually make that process cheaper. So now you can do a lot more YouTube videos for less money and have overall high profitability. So let's go over these use cases one by one. And at the end of this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to install this agentic workflow directly to your computer, even if you have never used AI before, or even if you're not even if you're not tech savvy either. I'll show you everything step by step by step. So let's go ahead and start off with the use case number one, which is AI video tours. So AI video tours are going to allow you to transform a folder of static property photos into fully animated vertical 9 to 16 video tours. So you can use this on your social media, or alternatively, when you do go to a listing appointment, you're just meeting the seller, right? Before you ever list the house, obviously you don't yet have the video tour. You can now showcase them an actual video tour about the property. So I heard in my previous video when I walked through this, one of the people actually leveraged that strategy on her listing appointment and closed a deal from that made her about $20,000. So this is an incredibly powerful strategy to impress sellers and showcase people that you're tech savvy without ever using anything that too complicated to actually do that. So how do we actually do this? So for this, we're going to go ahead to our website where here we have all the ready-made systems and prompts for this use case. And from your perspective, if you want to have access to this website, just go ahead and comment AI, and we will send a link with the full SOP. So you can go ahead and click on that link. It's going to open up this website, and now you'll be able to leverage this as well, 100% for free without any costs or requirements. So with that being said, all we need to do if you're leveraging this tool is just copy this prompt. So you press on this link right here, copy prompt. And now we're going to go ahead and open up our tool called Antigravity. So what Antigravity simply is that this is a tool from Google that allows you to run agentic workflows without anything too crazy as far as technical sides. You don't need your own server. You don't need your own any kind of separate computer for this. This is all run through this simple software you're going to get for free. And I'm going to show you how to install this later. So now that we are in here, all we need to do now is just paste our prompt. And now we need to attach 5 to 10 horizontal images of the property to this prompt. Okay, so for this one, we're just going to go ahead and drag and drop our property images right over here. And then from there, we're all set, and we're just going to press set. All right, let's take a look at the final product. So as you can see, it's super realistic. You can't really even see that it's done through AI. And it's all shot from very professional angles. This is something that would cost thousands and thousands of dollars to create. You would have to have a drone footage. You would have to have a professional videographer. You would have to spend multiple hours creating this. You would have to go to a property. It would have to be a sunny day. Like all those things would have to be going on for you to create such a video tour. And now we can do that 100% for free in less than a few minutes. You can have a final product like this just from a few images, 100% for free. So that's the power of using agentic AI. And this is done just through 5 images. So I want to be very clear. You can make these videos even so much better. You can make them 5 times better than what you're looking at right here if you put on a little bit more pictures, you put in a little bit more time. So if you wanted to just have a little bit more longer version of this, you want to have a little bit more crisp version of this, all you need to do is go ahead here to your workflow, go to the folder and press new folder. And then here, just type in whatever property you have. So 123 Main Street property, whatever property you're working on. So now that we have the folder over here, we're going to go ahead and open that up. So just press reveal in Finder. And then here you're going to have the folder that's tied into this agentic workflow. So now we need to go ahead and drag and drop the files to your folder. So you would have the files, as an example, in your property tour folder on your computer of the pictures you want to be using, and then just drag and drop them to specifically this folder right over here. And then now we're going to have all of those files ready to go. Okay, so now that we have those pictures here in the folder, you would go ahead and type in here. You already have the prompt previously done. So you type in here, create another property tour using these images. And then from the folder 123 Main Street. And then if you wanted to add anything else to your next property tour, you could also add that here. So as an example, make the video 15 seconds long and whatever other adjustments you would want it to make, right? You could also type those in over here. And then from there, all you need to do is just press send. And then from there, we create you another version that would fill whatever criteria you would set up over here. And so that's then when it's pretty much ready to go. You have the ready video. You could go ahead and put that to CapCut, add whatever captions you needed to, add whatever music you needed to, and make any according edits that you would like to make. From there, you can pretty much use it either on your social media, or you could, like I was telling earlier, you could also use it on your listing appointment to actually showcase the seller of what that will actually look like to have the full property done created before you ever create an actual property tour. So that's something a lot of our clients are using to win a lot of listings on those listing appointments as well. Really impress the seller, show them how on the cutting edge you are when it comes down to tech. So let's go ahead and move on to the next use case, which will be AI virtual staging. So this is a little bit similar use case as it is with those video tours. You can also have kind of like a messy property, right? Or maybe you just have like an empty room, situations like that, right? Where there's really no staging going on yet. And you want to show the sellers like, hey, this is what the final product will look like. Or alternatively, right, if you wanted to do staging and you wanted to just do that regularly in your properties, you could also just decorate and stage your properties without needing to actually physically do that. So to do this, all you need to do is just copy the prompt in this tool right over here. Go to the Antigravity tool, and here we have already everything ready to go. So you're just going to type in the prompt, so paste it. And then here, there's two things we need to type. So first thing is this property type. So let's assume this would be a single family home. And then the second is target buyer. So for the target buyer, right, this depends a little bit on who do you actually think the target buyer is. Is it a bachelor property? Is it a big family that would potentially be moving in? Is that older people, younger people, right? Whoever would be your target buyer, you want to describe that over here. So as an example, I could type in young family, 30 years old, moving to their first home in Florida, like as an example, and then one baby, right? This would be an example of the target buyer. And then now we're going to attach an image of that empty room to this prompt. So for this, let's just type in messy living room. We'll get a quick demo image for these purposes. And let's say we would have a kind of like a rundown property like this, very messy, very unclean. So obviously not something you would want to put up on the MLS. So now we're going to go ahead and add this here. And from there, we've already filled out all the other info. So we're going to press send. Okay, let's look at the finished product. So our original image was a picture like this, very messy, lots of stuff going on, dirt on I think it's maybe a dog food on the floor. Like nobody would want to live in this kind of a place. And now in less than a minute, we went from this to this, fully staged by a professional staging company, basically, right? We have another basically very similar looking sofa, but everything is all very clean. This is very livable space, very comfortable, and now people would really want to live in something like that. Now, on top of this, you notice how everything is all kind of like done in a very realistic way. This does not look like AI at all. So now that we have this ready to go, right, this is just one picture, right? So obviously when you have the actual property, you would have 5 pictures, 10 pictures, whatever the case may be. And so what you can actually do now is I'll show you an example of this. So use the images. For this purposes, we'll just use the images from the original demo from the 123 Main Street folder. And this, put them all on a website, but a full browser catalog. Make it premium and luxury wife for the Florida market. And so now we could use a prompt like this, and then we plug this in. Okay, so now that it's finished, let's go ahead and take a look at the end result. So we have a fully built out website for the property. We have the property address, we have the picture of the property in the background. Then here we even have a call to action, explore the residence. And we have a full catalog of all of those images we just went over. So when you're on a listing appointment, you can take those pictures, you can put this in, it takes less than 1 minute. And now you have a fully built out website for the property. You have a fully built out explanation of, hey, this is what it looked like before. So before it looks like this right now. And then it's virtually staged. It's going to look like this, showing the value clearly of what that staging will look like. And then here we have a full catalog of those pictures. So, and then here we have a contact agent. And then you can also tie this into your marketing strategy if you're doing property tour videos, whatever else you're doing, right? You can explain that, hey, when I'm doing those other content pieces and I'm doing the marketing for the property, your property, when we do it together, you're going to have a fully built out website for the actual property. So this is how this will work as well. Now imagine the seller when you show them like this, that you've already built a website for the property, you've already done the staging for the property, you have a full catalog of images with that virtual staging already built out. Like imagine that compared to the average realtor that basically shows nothing, right? So you're going to be very impressive on those, and you'll definitely show them that, hey, you're on the cutting edge of technology when you do something like this. One thing to keep in mind is that this is all, obviously we're doing this now on my computer. However, you can do the same workflow once you install this process. You can do this from your phone. So you can just include those images, just run some prompts that we just went over, and you can do this from your phone. Okay, let's go to the next use case. So the next use case will be your YouTube thumbnails. So let's go ahead and copy the prompt, and let's go to the anti-gravity. So here we're going to paste the prompt. And here we just need to add in the video title. So usually when realtors do YouTube videos, right, it can either be property tours or it's typically a lifestyle-based channel. So let's say here we would type in 5 reasons for why people are moving to Austin, Texas. But this could be an example of, let's say you have a lot of people moving to your area, right? You're creating a video about that, and then we would talk about that. Then we're going to need a picture. So if you have that lifestyle-based channel, now you would add a picture of yourself. And then if you had a property tour you would do, then obviously you could add the pictures of the property and then yourself. So depending a little bit on what's the video title. Okay, so I added a picture of myself for demonstration purposes. And let's go ahead and press send. All right, so we have the final product ready to go. You can notice there's 4 different versions, and if you like one of these, you can go ahead and just select that. However, if you have, like, let's say as an example, this one that you really like, but you want to make some adjustments. Let's say you want to change the color of the blazer, or you want to change your facial expression, anything like that. This works in a very similar way as any other, let's say if you use LLMs before, you can go back to the workload over here and just type in like, hey, I like the version A, and then please give me 4 new variations, widths, and then whatever you wanted to change, right? Just type that in there. It's going to spit out more of those variations with that particular style. So straightforward as this. And as you know, these are all like very, very good thumbnails. This is something that would take you hours and hours in Photoshop or Canva trying to figure this out. There's things like editing here. There's different elements here. There's the map here. All these things, they're all made here. So this is something that used to take dozens and dozens of hours to do, took hundreds of dollars to make. You had to hire people from different countries, different areas, like do this stuff for you, message them back and forth. Now all of this can be done in just a few seconds using this tool, as long as you know what you're doing. So that's another use case for this as well. Let's go ahead to the next step. So the tier 2 is going to be your strategic and admin operations. So for this one, the first one will be your superhuman thinking, and this is using AI workflows for advisorship in terms of pricing, negotiations, difficult business choices. So for this, let's go ahead and copy this prompt, go back to Antigravity, and then over here, let's go ahead and put in our prompt. And then here we could describe your situation. So this is something where, as an example, you could type in, I am a real estate agent in Austin, Texas. I make 10 deals a year being a sphere based agent. I want to close 30 deals a year. And then I've tried, and then you basically just answer those questions, right? So I have tried lead generation platforms like Zillow, realtor.com, and many other smaller done for you content services for my social media, and none of them have worked except my sphere. So then you answer, what's your constraints? My constraints in my business is getting deals outside of referrals and sphere. Make me a strategy for my social media marketing that would get me to 30 deals in a way where people are reaching out to me. And then here we're going to say output advice on a web page. And now we're all set. We're going to press send. Okay, so we have a full report completed, and let's go over it. So from 10 deals to 30 deals, surgical social media strategy for Austin, Texas, 10 deals a year to 30 deals a year. Situation analysis is step number one. Here we have the market analysis, what works, what's failed, and then the gap. And core insights. So the failed platforms share traits. They either sell you cold leads or produce generic content that doesn't sound like you. So your sphere works because your trust, personality, authenticity, and the strategy isn't to abandon what works, it's to scale it. So you need to turn strangers into sphere at scale. And social media done correctly is a sphere expansion machine. So here, AI created 10 strategic options, and then each option is rated on cost, time investments, time to results, and scalability. Your constraint is people must come to you. So it also highlights the constraint. People need to come to your business as opposed to you going to them. So we have strategy number one is YouTube is Austin Insider long form channel, publishing 1 to 2 videos a week on neighborhood guides, relocation tips, market updates. You become the digital answer on how should I move to Austin? The exact questions to get your next 20 clients are Googling right now. Now there's some pros here, then there's some cons, then there's some risks, and then there's a cost. I'll get into this as well. You have another strategy, Instagram Reels. Then we have YouTube and Instagram hybrid system, local Facebook groups, TikTok, email newsletter, Google business profile, podcasts, paid meta ads, and then strategic amplification, referral rewards systems here as well. But all of this, we have the pros, cons, and risks and costs. And then here, based on your data you gave that superhuman thinking, right, you also have the recommendation. So here the recommendation would be that Austin Insider Stack, so YouTube, Instagram, and email. And then here we have the game plan for each of those steps completed. We have the math ready to go. And then we have the stress test as well. So the stress test, what this is that counter argument for all of those recommendations he just talked or the AI just talked about. And then here we have some contra arguments as well you can use to consider maybe that other side of the coin here as well. And then here, why I still recommend content is kind of like still explaining why why the tool still explains why the tool still wants you to do something or what's the actual recommendation. Now here we have the 90-day action plan. This is all step by step graded out. And obviously this is just a quick example, right? So with the prompt I gave the tool, it's just something we just kind of came up with right now. So when you actually use a superhuman thinking, right, it's not only necessarily something high level like this, you could actually go into your, let's say you're already doing YouTube, right, or you're already doing social media. You could get it to analyze your account data, and then you could get it to create a game plan around that exact data, right? So all these things that we just went over, this is just a very, very, very surface level example. When you actually do this, try to feed it as much information as possible about relevant things to the problem you're trying to solve. And this can be like very, very specific. So whatever you're doing, right, try to make it as detailed as possible. So this is just one example, right? So let's say another example of this would be, let's say you would have a difficult client in your business. Let's say you had a seller, you had a very expensive property, you listed with them as $1 million, $5 million property. You guys have been on the market for a few months now. The seller is complaining a little bit, is giving you a little pushback, right? And so you have a problem like that in the business, and now you want to solve it. You can go ahead and plug it into this superhuman thinking tool and get the best course of action fully mapped out for yourself. So this is something like a business coach, like back in the day, or even now you would have Mike Ferry, Tom Ferry, any kind of consulting company out there. You can basically get that now for free using tools like this. There's still definitely human touch, emotions, things like that, but this is definitely a very useful tool you can really use to get a lot of business advice, a lot of problems, like, and the right course of action for that done as well. Now, let's go ahead and do the next one. So the next one will be your tech assistant. So let's go ahead and copy the prompt over here. Go to your Antigravity, plug that in. And then here we have a tech issue you would need help with. I don't know how to send emails from my CRM. I use follow up bus. And then here, group this part. And then if you need credentials or access, let me know what you need. Use browser. And then if we press send, right, we're seeing it clicking. It's in the notes over here. Go send email. And you notice my hands are right over here. So I'm not doing anything on it. Showing us how to do it. So it went to the send email. Now it's putting in some text over there. Changing the subject. Okay. Looks like it's pretty straightforward as that. And then from there, I would obviously press send email. So as you notice, it's very straightforward. There are sometimes a couple things I can notice here. It's kind of change the subject. Like if you wanted to actually do something for you that will be more specific, right? I would instruct it a little bit more precisely. You would say like, hey, send me this and this type of email to this different types of people. And you could actually get it to do that for you as well. But as far as it goes, pretty straightforward. And then what you want to be looking out for, right, is if there's any kind of problems in the middle, you can just always send it a message. So in the same way as the regular LLM model goes, you can always instruct it to do things a little bit differently. And in the same way, there could be some things like you get stuck somewhere, right? So just always send a message and get it to fix it. That's just something to keep in mind. Now, from here on out, looks like it's showing us, I think we're ready and set with this step. So I'm just going to tell it to stop. Okay, so anything tech related, so you can just go ahead and type it in with that prompt. And then from there, it's going to take control of your computer and literally do that for you. So it's simple as that. It doesn't get easier than that. Okay, so the two next ones, we have AI appointment preparation and then AI call analysis. For the AI appointment preparation, I'm not going to do that for really privacy reasons. So what I mean by that is that this would be something you would do before your listing appointment, right? And so before your listing appointment, you're going to know the name of the person, their addresses, and some information like that. And what you can do with that prompt is you can plug it into the Antigravity, so you can copy prompt and put it to Antigravity, insert whatever amount of information you have about them, and it's going to do a deep research all over the web about that person. It's going to do deep research about the property as well. It's going to give you a very detailed report and also compelling talking points before you ever meet that person. So that's why I'm not going to do that for privacy reasons here on YouTube, right? It's obviously going to reveal a lot of that personal data, which is not something I necessarily want to reveal here about anybody personally, but that's something you can use to prepare for your appointment though. And if you keep it personal to you, right, that's something you just generally find valuable. So that's AI appointment preparation for listing appointments, for buyer appointments. Really, really good, especially nowadays, right? Because a lot of the information about people, it is online, it is public. You can go on Instagram, you can go on Facebook, obviously LinkedIn, it's all publicly available. So that's something you can easily use. Now, also here, we have AI call analysis. So for the AI call analysis, that's something you would use if you're doing cold calling, door knocking, or you're buying leads, right? You're doing cold calls from that. So what you can do from that is just upload your sales call recording transcripts. You can upload them over there, and it's going to give you a ruthless, detailed performance review about how you're doing, what things you want to be improving on, if there's anything in your approach you want to be changing, and obviously all the other things as well. Really, really beneficial if you have anything related to sales. Yeah, and then if you don't know how to get your call recording transcripts or how to actually plug them in, you can just use the tech assistant and it's going to show you exactly how to do that. So those two things are extremely beneficial for really any kind of improvement in your listing appointment conversion rates or buyer appointment conversion rates, like in terms of the sales specifically, if you get very well prepared and you also have that feedback loop between you doing things and giving you feedback, right? That's incredibly useful. So this is something that even if you work with a big coach like Mike Ferry or Tom Ferry, I'm sure like sometimes they could do something like that, but very rarely they could review hundreds of phone calls, right? There's just not the capacity really any kind of coach would have. So with AI, we can now do this, and the beauty of it is free. It doesn't cost you anything. So that's something you can use there as well. So for that, it works with the very similar principle. You copy the prompt, you fill out the data, and it's gonna be doing that for you. Again, this is very different from you going to ChatGPT and telling ChatGPT that, hey, tell me how to get better at sales. What this will do, right, is that it will analyze all the data, all the transcripts, every single word you're actually saying, and compare that to the top people in the world when it comes down to sales. And so that way you'll get a really, really crisp idea about what you're doing right now, what you should be doing, what you should be changing, and have incredible advantage, obviously, over all the other people in this space. So extremely useful tools. I use these myself. Definitely recommend using it too. Now, let's go ahead to the next tier. Tier number 3 will be your real estate intelligence and marketing. So first things first, we're going to go over AI-powered CMA reports. So these are going to be stunning, highly accurate CMA presentation PDFs simply by pasting a Zillow link. So let's go over an example on this. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pull out a random property I just got from Zillow for just demo purposes. And going back to what we talked about before, there's two reasons why we do this. So first of all, it's faster. This is something, instead of you going there and trying to create a CMA, right? It's going to do that for you, but also better, because the truth is, like, AI has access to more data points. The AI can do deep research. Obviously, AI can put all those points together. So we can obviously do a lot better CMAs than you could do on your own. Now, also, this will be typically much better CMA than you could get from any kind of tool. A lot of tools out there, they're kind of outdated. They're using 10 years old technology. So when you do something like this, it's pretty much going to be a cutting edge CMA. It's just really nothing better than using something like this in terms of your CMA. So you get your CMAs done better and faster. And most importantly, you can use this for new clients, the new listing leads you're generating, but then also your past clients. So make sure you're also leveraging past clients, give them consistent CMAs, and that way you can also ramp up some business. So one of the best strategies to increase a massive amount of referrals is sending customized, personalized CMA to your database, your past clients, your sphere, all the people you've already gotten in touch with. So what you want to be doing is consistently send these out, and then people are also going to feel like, hey, whatever your name is, Lizzie, right? You're consistently sending them CMAs, you're getting massive value. So now whenever somebody they know is selling a house or somebody they know is buying a house, well, now you're top of mind. You're the person that instantly think about when it's time to sell. So incredibly great strategy for those referrals specifically. Now let's go ahead and implement this workflow. So I'm going to go ahead and copy the prompt, go to Antigravity, and on Antigravity, I'm going to paste the prompt. And like we just mentioned, I'm just going to go ahead and take, this is a purely random property from Zillow. It was on the first page. So we're going to go ahead and paste that Zillow link right over here, and we're going to press send. Okay, so now we have the CMA ready. So it's now kind of created this essentially a template for your CMA. However, as you notice, the data in the CMA, it is not accurate. So the reason why it's not accurate is because with Zillow, they don't allow people to just get the data from the website. What you really need if you want to have accurate data is you need to have Zillow API key. So to get the Zillow API key, you need to Google it and then you need to purchase it. It's not super expensive, but if you want to do a lot of these, you would have to purchase that. Now, then you need to connect it to the anti-gravity. That's a little bit more larger question. So that's something you could, if you wanted to, you could use a technical assistant to help you in terms of setting that up. So, however, that's what you would really need to do if you want to have that working for you on a comprehensive level over and over and over again. Now, the other option you could do as well is if you don't want to have the Zillow API key, you could also just plug in the data of the comps. So if you plug in the data of the comps to the anti-gravity, it's also going to be able to run that analysis for you. So that's how the CMA style works. You would either need the Zillow API key or you would need the comps data that you need to plug it in there. So when you plug in data either from your local MLS about the comps, or if you use the Zillow API key to plug in the data directly, from there, this report will be incredibly accurate. So one thing to understand about AI, right, is that a lot of these tools, and this was in particular, it is more smarter and has higher IQ in terms of math compared to the best mathematicians in the world. So this report will be incredibly accurate, but it does need that data. So you need to get that data either from your local MLS or from that Zillow API key. So from here, we're going to have the full report ready to go. You can just go ahead and save it as a PDF, and then you can use it in your emails, text messages, whatever you prefer to do, or just put it on a website and just use that as a direct link there. Now, in the CMA itself, you're going to notice it's going to have all the data as well: competitive, aggressive, how quickly it's going to sell, market conditions, comparable sales analysis. And if you need to add anything, you can also go ahead and just add it to the prompt, and then it's going to add in that data as well based on the data you've feeded it before. All right, let's go to the next use case. So the next use case will be listing marketing optimizer. So we can go ahead and copy this prompt, go to anti-gravity, plug this in, and then here dump all the info here or paste Zillow or MLS link. So very simple process over here. We're going to go ahead and take our demo property over here, copy the link, plug it in right over here, and press send. And while it's doing this, just for some quick context about the workflow over here, is that the goal here is to instantly write high converting MLS, Zillow, social media, and email copy from a single brief. So really, once you paste that link, it's going to be able to give you very, very high converting, essentially copy. A little bit like if you hired a copywriter for your business, it's going to be able to act as that. So as you notice, it's running its workflow, and soon we're going to have a fully built out copy for our property. So you can also use this to improve any of the listings you have. So let's say you've had some listings on the market for a very long time, they haven't sold for whatever reason. This is a very good tool to go over actually the listing itself, see how it's presented, see how it's written out, see what images you've been using, and then it's going to compare that to the world's best approach, essentially from the world's best copywriters. So that's exactly what it's going to do. And then this is a great tool to, number one, speed up the sales of your listings, but just generally hone in on your marketing skills when it comes down to that presentation you have. All right, so the listing strategy is ready to go. And obviously, this is already on a live property that's already on the market. However, if you're in the process of about to list your property, you're working through it, obviously, you will get a chance to improve it before you ever post it online. And a lot of this data, you want to look at it from a critical point of view. So everything you're looking at, just make sure it makes sense for you. AI is not always right, but however, you can definitely get some great improvements, great tips by looking at the data it's spitting out. So first things first, we have the presentation analysis and the flaws. It says that the visual hook, the photo number one, is weak. And so instead of doing that, we want to make the photo number two, a rooftop deck with the fire pit and the mountain view, is a hero image. So it says that's $1 million view that stops scroll. Now, the second part is we have the hook itself is generic, and the fix for that is to lead with emotion instead. So instead of saying, welcome to one of Winter Park's most desirable addresses, we would say panoramic continental divide views from your private rooftop deck. So, at least in my opinion, that sounds much better compared to the current one. Now, the next one we have feature listing versus storytelling. So, the description reads like a checklist, vaulted ceilings, chef's kitchen. It informs but doesn't sell really the experience. So, here we have the fix, which is to sell the lifestyle. So, describe hosting a ski around the kitchen island. Describe unwinding in the hot tub after hitting the slopes. So, I believe this is a pretty good tip here as well. Now, here we have some MLS copy optimization. So here we have the original, and then we have the storytelling rewrite fully written out. And we also have a full optimized MLS description here as well, fully written out. I believe this looks incredibly great. And again, same as with anything that AI does, you want to look at it critically. You want to make sure that there's nothing that's off, and you want to kind of customize a little bit yourself. So make sure, again, even though it's going to be largely better, still look at it, make sure if there's any mistakes, and make sure everything makes sense. Here we have Instagram Reels and social captions as well, and we're almost pretty much ready to go from here. And again, anything you want to add to this or you want to ask it, remember you can always go back to it, add anything you need, add any data you need, and also go ahead and ask any questions you like. If there's a particular use case, let's you create a YouTube video, right? You can definitely ask it ideas about that as well. Okay, so our next use case will be email broadcast. So this will be deal of the week email we're going to send out. And one of the biggest things is if we go back to why we were using AI, right, is that bottleneck and constraint driven thinking when it comes down to growing your business. And what's the main constraint for most real estate agents out there? Well, they're really not staying top of mind with their sphere. They're not staying top of mind with their leads, right? They're not really able to get the biggest amount of revenue from each lead that they're getting. So one of the best ways to really do that is to send an email broadcast with the deal of the week. And this is a format of emails that's been popularized by some of the biggest CEOs in the real estate industry. So this is something that's proven to work and something you definitely want to be using. So for this, we're going to go ahead and copy that prompt. Then we're going to go to our Antigravity tool. And again, for this whole system with all the prompts and obviously the workflows internally that you see right over here, if you want to get access to it, just comment AI under the YouTube video here, and you get access to that for free. So just comment AI, and we're going to send this to you for free. That way, you'll be able to plug that into your business as well. So let's go ahead and command paste this right here. And then we're going to go ahead and set the target location. So let's say our target location is Harrisonburg, Virginia. And then we're going to go ahead and press send. Okay, so now the AI did all the research for us, and it did all the research through Zillow, looking at all the properties available in that given marketplace, and found us that deal of the week. So now when we go to our browser, we can notice that it already also created the email for you ready to go with the subject line and also the actual copy of the email. Now here we have the link to the property itself, and obviously you want to go to the link, see that everything does indeed make sense. It is actually a great property. It is a great deal. And then from there on out, if it isn't, for some reason, you can just go ahead and tell the AI do the research again until it is. Most of the times it's pretty accurate. And from there on out, you're ready to go. You can plug this into your CRM, send it as an email, and you're all set. Now, for some reason, if you want to also maybe have your own property, right? Maybe you're selling a listing, you want to add that in here. Well, obviously, you can just add that in. You can just use a copy and just change around some of these texts, obviously, as well. So straightforward as this. And now we can send this every single week, run the process again, and keep running it up. Okay, so the next part will be tier 4, so high converting video content. And one of the video content pieces you want to be doing is Instagram Reels. For Instagram Reels specifically, what works really, really well for Instagram Reel market updates is something that's super, super recent. So something that's happening right now, something that's going on right now, and something that's kind of like basically like a news piece. It's like a legislation change or a recent event, anything like that. So for it specifically, this works really well. So here's an example on one of our clients that made a reel on California new legislation they made about the properties over there. And this is a reel that got over 2 million views, 37,000 likes, 3,000 engagements. And so for you to replicate this reel, the one that got millions of views, tens of thousands of likes, to make your reels go viral as well, you're going to need similar information, similar data as she would about your local exact area, right? Obviously, we can't make the same about your area, right? Because your area would have different events, different things going on. And so that's something you need to get access to as far as data. And then obviously, you're going to need the scripts on what to actually say on those reels, what to actually talk about on those reels, and how to actually say that. So traditional way of doing this, right, is you would spend hours and hours and hours reading news, reading real estate news, researching different topics, trying to come up with the ideas yourself, try to write out the scripts. That will be a very, very lengthy process. Whereas now we can get the AI agent to do all of that work for you in less than a few minutes. So let's go ahead and copy the prompt over here for this workflow. Go to the Antigravity, and then here we're going to copy paste our prompt. And then here we have to say the realtor, like the city and state that we're in. So we could say Austin, Texas over here. And then we are good to go. Let's press send. Okay, so now the AI reviewed all the recent news. It scraped the web for all the data that will be relevant for this. And based off this, it scored different scripts according to different score metrics. And now we have a certain threshold we wanted to hit that was massive, about 200 points. And now we hit over 1,000,000 points. So this is the maximum point pretty much you can have for local specificity, emotional intensity, timeliness, and debate potential. So debate is actually good for reels because that creates engagement, it creates conversation. So let's go ahead and open up our scripts and see what it looks like. And here we have it on the left. So we're going to go ahead and make it a little bit bigger. So here we have the hook. So Austin ISD is officially building apartment complexes. Here's why. Construction just started on 675 units at the old Anita Coy site in East Austin because 2/3 of our teachers are completely priced out of the market. So very, very emotional intensive topic. When the people teaching kids can't afford homes in the city, the whole system cracks. For Austin homeowners, this means three things. First, we're seeing a massive shift in public land being aggressively repurposed for multifamily housing. Second, the district is using preferred employer program to act as a landlord just to keep the school staffed. And third, the Austin affordability crisis has gotten so severe that employers are stepping in to build the inventory themselves. Now, should our public schools be in the real estate business just to keep teachers? Drop your uncensored opinion in comments. And I can promise you, if you record this reel and you put it out there, you're going to have massive, massive amounts of people giving you different opinions, different debates, and you will be positioned as kind of like the news person. You will be the point of information, the authority on the real estate topic. Obviously, it's a real estate reel. Now you have hundreds, if not thousands of people going to your profile, checking you out, and then reaching out to you, asking you for your help. So that's something that you can do. And this is just one reel. Imagine if you do those things over and over and over again, you will quickly become kind of like the local go-to person in your area. And you can see how this is so different if you were to hire somebody to like from Philippines or something like that to make some Instagram reels with AI for you, right? It's not even remotely same as running something like this. Or if you were to work with a videographer in your local area, you would have kind of like random touch points on random things that are just general real estate information. It has nowhere near this level of emotional relevancy, nowhere near this level of just relevancy in general for people. And so that's why these scripts, they make a ton of difference in terms of your actual performance of your Instagram reels. And so a lot of times people think that, hey, it's about editing, it's about having a virtual assistant, it's about just shooting a lot of content. It is not. It's actually about what the content is. How good are those things you actually post about are? And so that's exactly how you can do this. Now, one thing to keep in mind is, of course, double check all these things. So make sure you go to Google, double check that, hey, this is actually happening. This is actually real. So you're posting about real things that are actually going on in your market. So usually 99% of the time, this is all correct, but you just want to double check to make sure you're saying the right things. This is how this actually works. And so the reason why this works so much better compared to, let's say you just went to ChatGPT and tried to, hey, make me an Instagram reel, is because here the AI agent is actually scraping the data. It's actually looking up at the actual websites, actual information, actual news going on. It's scoring it based on frameworks we have internally built over the last 7 years, working with over 800 agents. So these frameworks they've built into this process, right? So those things that it's actually doing are all based on that. And so then it's crafting all of these scripts, crafting all of those different things based on essentially you being able to do that prompt, but then on the back end, it's acting basically as a real person going through online and searching all that data. So that's why it works so well. And that's the key thing to understand about AI workflows versus something like just using ChatGPT in general. All right, next let's go over YouTube video scripts. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this prompt, plug this in right over here. And then we're going to add in our area. We can do again. We can now do Chicago. Topic. We can use the same topic as we did before. So 5 reasons why people are moving to Chicago. And target audience. For this, we could do buyers this time. All right, we're good to go. And let's press send. All right, same as with the Instagram Reels. It went over, it did all the research. We have our hook, problem, pain point. We have our content ready to go, and we have our summary and CTA. Let's go ahead and open this up. Over here, we're going to expand a little bit, and now we're going to have our hook. So everyone is talking about leaving the Midwest, but if you look at the actual data, thousands of savvy buyers are quietly doing the opposite. They're packing up and moving to Chicago. Why? Because right now Chicago is offering something that almost no other major US city can compete with. And by the end of this video, you're going to know exact 5 reasons why out-of-state buyers and suburbanites are flooding into the city limits and how you can take advantage of this market before everybody else catches on. Let's get into it. Then here we have the problem, the why, we have the content itself, and we're also going to have the actual reasons and everything else we need to do that. Also, this includes the call to actions over here at the bottom of the video that we have found that are proven to work to actually turn people into actual buyer consultations and actual listing appointments. So these are all made based on a program, people working with us testing out different call to actions, seeing what works, what doesn't. And so that's also done custom on each video by the AI agent. So with that being said, we're all set from here. We can just pretty much go ahead and take the script, and then we're going to obviously have to go through that actual recording process, record the video, and through the rest of the steps as well. So if that's something that you feel like you need help with, like all those rest of the steps, just go ahead and I think I'm going to put a link down below where you can go ahead and schedule a call with us as well. So you can get one-on-one analysis on exactly what that would look like if you were looking for help for some of those additional steps as well. All right, and the final is the Probability Tour voice overlay scripts. So this is whenever, let's say you were using the first strategy to create those AI video tours, well, obviously you would need a actual overlay of voice. You walk into the property, explain what the property is about. So obviously you could use the AI video tours, right, if that's something you created with AI. However, this also would apply if you were to have an actual property tour that you've done yourself in the real world and recorded the video about that as well. So this would work for both of those cases. So for this, we would need to upload your property tour video, and then you're going to get that ready to record voiceover there. So you'd copy the prompt over here. And then from there, we're going to add in this. And from here, I'm providing my property tour video. So we're going to need to include your property tour video for this. So for this, you would want to drag and drop whatever property tour video you did over here and create a folder about that. Now from here, we're going to go ahead and use our previous example with it before. So I'm going to say, I'm providing my property tour video, use property tour reel I did before. And then here, property address or name. Obviously, our property address or name is just property tour reel 123 Main Street. And duration of this, I believe, is about 10 seconds. So for this, it varies a lot, right? If you would have a longer property tour, let's say on YouTube, obviously that would be longer. So add whatever duration of the video you feel like you want to create. Now we're going to just go ahead and press send, and now it's gonna write out that script for us. So it's gonna actually look at that video you have and look at the data it has, and then based on that, it's gonna create this script for you to actually record. So let's see how it works. All right, we have our property tour video done and created over here. And one of the things to understand about the script itself is that the AI agent will actually look at your video. It's going to watch the video end to end, and based on that, customize the script for you. So obviously, this is just a quick, short video that we had for 10 seconds. But you can imagine if you have a longer video, it could be 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Well, now you can write out the full scripts for a full video that you create. And one of the things I recommend also doing is, obviously this is just a demo quick example we did, but when you actually use this property tour voiceover script creation process, go ahead and obviously include the property information you have about the property. So how many bedrooms, how many living rooms, square footage, features, all those different things, right? Make sure you include that in the prompt. That way you'll get the best possible script created as well. All right, that's the full end-to-end 13 different use cases for agentic workflow. And remember, it all goes back to doing things either faster or better based on your constraint, whatever you're trying to alleviate in your business. So some of that could be even different from what you actually need. So you want to make sure that you actually customize those based on whatever preference that you have. Now, next, let's go over the actual installation process. So I went over some tools like Google's Antigravity, API keys, all these different things, right? And now we're going to go ahead and actually install the actual software, the actual tool to do all of this. So I'm going to show you step by step how to install those agentic AI workflows directly to your computer right now. Even if you've never had any tech experience, even if you're not computer savvy, you'll be able to simply follow everything step by step. Like we talked about at the beginning of the video, make sure you bookmark this video right now. So that way you can always come back to it and go back to any point you need in the timestamps down below. And for the full document, both for the workflows and for the installation, if you want to have these for free, just comment AI under this video and we'll send that over to you for free. So let's go ahead and get started with the installation process. So this is very simple process. So first things first, we need to install and open Google's Antigravity on your computer. So specifically, not your computer, not your phone or your tablet, but you want to install this specifically on your computer. So here's the link to do that. And then over here, we just simply need to press download. So we press download, and whatever, if you have Mac or Windows or Linux, whatever computer you have, press on that, select that, and then download the file itself. Once you download the file itself, it's going to go to your folders. So just press on that, go through the downloading process, and you're good to go. The next step from here is downloading our AI engine. So the link for that is right over here. And the AI engine, what that specifically is that all those things I went over, right, there are workflows we've built based on working with over 700 clients. So all of those workflows have specifically custom built for this exact purpose. So you can't use only the Google's Antigravity without the workflows because it's going to be very different outcomes that you saw on the video. So for that, go ahead and press on this link right over here. And then here, you're going to have this Google Drive document. So for this, just press download right over here. And it's also going to download this directly to your computer. So here, simply press download and you're all set from here. So you're going to be able to see that right over here. Now, we simply need to unzip this downloaded folder. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the folder, open it up, and we're all set from here. We have them right over here. Okay, now we're going to open the AI engine folder with Antigravity. So you want to go to Antigravity. You'll see a view like this. Press open folder. Okay, and now go to downloads. And then in the downloads, you'll locate your file AI for realtors. And then here, press simply open. Then from there, you're going to have a view like this and you're all set. And the last step from here is simply to create Google API key with free credits and add it to your workspace. So simply press over here. And then over here, you'll see a view like this and press simply create API key. And then name your key, whatever you want to name it. AI for realtors. And then we're all set from here. You just simply press create a key. So after you create your API key, it's going to ask you for your billing information to verify your identity. So go ahead and do that. And after that, it's going to give you hundreds of dollars worth of API credits that you can now use for free on this platform. And basically, to translate that, that's essentially so many credits that's probably going to be more than you'll ever use with the whole platform ever. That's a lot of credits you'll be able to leverage on these platforms. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and copy your API key. I'm going to go to Antigravity and type add this Google API key to .env. And then this Google API key, right after this Google API key, you want to add in your actual API key. One thing to keep in mind, this is a little bit like a password. So make sure nobody ever sees your API key. Keep it very, very private, because if somebody has it, they're going to have access to all the stuff that you do. So that's why in this video, I'm obviously not going to do that on the video. So from there, once you've added that in, go ahead and press send, and you're all set. You're ready to go. And now you can use the tool as showcased in the video. So all the tools, all the scripts, all the workflows, everything else, all you need to do to get them, simply type AI under this video. We're going to send it to you for free. And from there on out, you're all set. So now you can start using this. Type start, press send. And then from there, it's going to run through the process itself to get you started. So over here, it's going to ask you to run. So press run. And after you press run, it's going to show you this view right over here. And this is the exact view you just went over in the video itself. So now you can go ahead, copy prompt, and get started with the system. So that's how it works end to end. To get all the files, folders, workflows, instructions, exactly how to install this, just comment AI under this video down below. We're going to send this to you for free. And if you need any help with the actual implementation, if you want this done as a done for you service, and also get the full support as to which of the bottlenecks should actually be focusing on, which platforms, and just get general help with the implementation, go ahead through the link. I'll leave a link down below where you can schedule a one-on-one call with us. It's a strategy call. We're going to diagnose your current bottleneck, create a full game plan around how you can actually leverage social media, how you can leverage AI to generate 5 to 20 listing appointments per month. So if you want to do that, I'll leave a link down below as well where you can go ahead and pick the best time for you there. Other than that, hopefully you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.